the Falcons, they are remaining idle. They've not done anything this year. How does this affect their Women's African Cup of Nations chances, and what needs to change to ensure that Nigeria does not fall behind? We finished 4th in the last Women's African Cup of Nations. We do not want to do that this time around. So, gentleman and lady, let's get into this conversation. I will begin with Isabella. Isabella, while the Super Falcons have yet to play a match in 2025, as I did say earlier, South Africa's Banyana have already played 3. 2 versus Lesotho, and we've got them playing Malawi. They played 1 against Malawi. Isabella, how much of a disadvantage is this for the Super Falcons heading into the WAFCON, which is just months away?
Well, it's very much a disadvantage because you cannot be playing with our hopes. The last time you just rightly mentioned, we came 4th in Africa, and that was good for the team. We barely qualified for the World Cup. Of course, we did well in the World Cup, but then the last time the team played any friendly or any serious tournament or any serious friendly, let me say, was last year in November, and that was the loss against France. In France, that was 2-1 after leading. So I do not know why they didn't make use of the FIFA window for the women that came up in February, where other group members of the Super Falcons that will participate with the Super Falcons in Morocco. I don't know why they didn't use that opportunity, of course, to make sure that the team play 1 or 2 competitive games. We cannot continue to let this roll. It is July 5th, it will start, and it will stop by the ending of July. So we are talking about the Super Falcons, the most successful team in Africa, and we cannot continue to just leave them to go on without being fully prepared. Other African countries are not sleeping. This is not the time where the Super Falcons can just wake up and win matches. Right now, they are having stiff competitions from South Africa, from other African teams. So the others are coming up. They are not sleeping any longer. So that is the reason why the NFF should have taken this very, very seriously. It can be salvaged. Yes, they can salvage something now. It is just 3 months. So let me just say 3 months, because April, May, June, and then July, you come about the competition in Morocco. So they still have time to do that. But when will it be possible? Because right now it's very, very active. The women football is very active. It's very competitive now. And they're also in their various foreign clubs doing well. So when are you going to gather them together for a friendly? That is the problem now.
Okay.
I think the only way they can do that is an early campaign for the women.
All right, an early campaign, but I must say that those who defeated the Super Falcons of Nigeria at the last Women's African Cup of Nations, Zambia to be precise, they will play in an international tournament in China. They're not coming to joke at this year's Women's African Cup of Nations. That competition in China would begin in April 5, I beg your pardon, to 8 April 2025. Bemidepo, I need to bring you into this conversation. Maybe a man can help us, make sense of really what is really happening concerning the Super Falcons of Nigeria, because it's all about the Super Eagles having to pick their tickets to the 2026 World Cup. And let me tell you, wake up from your slumber. Fix your gaze on something that is possible, really possible. Bemidepo, how crucial is the tournament which Zambia is going to be participating in April? How crucial is it for the exposure of teams, tactics, development, and how does Nigeria's inactivity be compared to what Zambia is about to do? They were the ones who defeated us in the bronze medal match at the last WAFCON.
All right, I think, first of all, it was a painful defeat for us at the bronze medal match, against Zambia last time out. But at this point in time, whether we like it or not, like you rightly said, teams around us are getting better. They are fine-tuning their games, fine-tuning their lineups, getting to understand themselves more, which, usually is our bane when it comes to the Super Falcons at this point in time. Let's not forget that there are a few quality players who have joined the side as well, and who would really need to, have time to understand the way their colleagues play, which they do not have at this point in time. It's disappointing. The question is, do we really have time? My colleague was saying earlier on that there is still time. For me, there is actually no time, and that's why other teams around us continue to get better, and we remain stuck. We have the talent, we have the quality, and I think that has always been our problem. Even with the Super Eagles squad, the talent is there, the individual talent, the individual quality is there. Same with the Falcons. But what happens when they come together? The collective unit is where there is usually problems, because they've not gotten to understand themselves. They've not gotten to understand the way they should play. And that was what happened as well, the last time out when we came fourth. Because these players, yes, the individual quality would always shine forth. You get players just give us some stunning goals from, the goals just come around and we get to win games. So we do not know that we actually have problems. Because you have quality players like Rashidia Tajibade, you have Monday Gift, you have Tony Payne, you have quality players in the side, and they can always spring up surprises. But what happens when those quality players don't turn up on? Probably when they have off days. That is where teamwork comes in, which we are yet to see at this point. So for me, it's disappointing. I do not forget that a team that goes to play, the Zambian team that are going to play, at the tournament in China, definitely they will be exposed to foreign tactics, exposed to other nations, and even if they get beaten, mauled, or destroyed or annihilated there, it is a learning process, a learning curve, which will help them to play, at the next WAFCON, which is very important for them, because they are not going to the tournament to win, no doubt about that. They are going to the tournament as a preparation, for ahead of the WAFCON, which is very important for them, exposes them to tactics, exposes them to better play against better teams, like they would face even at the WAFCON. And you see, their game would definitely improve. They will play a more improved game, and by the time they come to the AFCON, they probably might spring up surprises, as they did the last time out, even against the Super Falcons. So I think it's sad. It is disappointing. I talked about this a couple of days ago. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I talked about this on a group, and we're wondering what exactly is happening. Why is everywhere quiet, as if there is no WAFCON this year for the Super Falcons? Because it's surprising. It's as if there is even no WAFCON. People have forgotten about it. But this is not what should be happening for the Giants of Africa, one of the best, female sides in the world. I think we can do better as a country.
Yes,
and
of
I
course.
think the Nigerian Football Federation should, see to this.
All right, and this has really made me question the NFF's commitment to growing women's football. We did listen at a time last year when the Nigerian Football Federation president talked about that his commitment, making sure that the Super Falcons have a very good run at the 2025 AFCON this year. He did talk about having to integrate the team with players from the Nigerian Women's Football League, which we saw in that friendly against Algeria. But I want to still use other African teams to maybe throw jabs and tell you how they are preparing. Let me go to Morocco. This is the host nation right now. Morocco, the tournament hosts, they have tested themselves against Ghana, against Haiti, against Tunisia, against Cameroon, and the list goes on and on and on. Isabella, what does this, idleness for the Super Falcons, what does this say about the NFF's commitment to proper preparation for the Falcons? Because we always feel that the Falcons will always deliver. I think they have that notion that whenever they're put on the pitch, they will bring the title. Don't worry, they're a very dominant force in Africa. So what does this say about the NFF's preparation, commitment to preparation for the women's team?
Well, it doesn't say anything good about the NFF right now, because I thought by now we must have passed this stage in, treating the women, really getting them to the background. There was a time, of course, before the 2023 World Cup, the NFF prepared the team very, very well, and it also showed in the World Cup. But then it is a different ball game. For now, this year, it's been worse. Last year, of course, we played against France, but this year, nothing. When I think about it, I kind of I'm sort of afraid. But then, just as you said, they felt that maybe the team will always roll over other African teams. But you can't just not wake up one day and start winning. You have to prepare to win. And that is what we haven't really done this year. We haven't done that this year. So that is why I suggested early camping, because that's the only way they can salvage anything in terms of preparation. Right now, the women teams are very active in their various clubs. They are all playing in their various clubs. There is no window right now for them to come together and start, going for one tournament or the other. You mentioned Zambia, going to China. Of course, those invitations should have been, looked into by the NFF. Enroll Nigeria into that so that Nigeria will also participate competitively as a team, not as individual players. Yes, they are doing well in their various clubs, but then you cannot, they are not going to play individually when it comes to the Nations Cup in July. No, they will play as a team. So if they don't work as a team, how can they now deliver the results? So right now, I'm faulting the NFF in that preparation. They didn't do well like they used to before the 2023 World Cup.
Do you think they have channeled all the attention? Do you think that they have channeled all the attention to the Super Eagles qualification to the 2026 World Cup, Isabella?
I think they forgot. Let me not say, I think they're forgetting that the women are going to play this year because all the attention has been on the World Cup qualification for the Super Eagles and then what of the July events this year. Some persons used to call me and tell me, say, am I really sure that the Super Falcons will do anything this year? I said, yes, they will. They are going to play in the Nations League. They've already qualified since last year. So I don't know why this is happening now. We have passed this stage. Why bringing us back this situation where the women will now be begging to get prepared for a competition that they could have gotten without any stress. They could have gotten prepared. At least that February window where others, even there is these foreign competitions that they play, they could have lost the She Heroes Cup, all those cups that they play with other international, other countries, Spain and France and other big countries, Germany. We could have gotten involved in that, but we didn't. The last time was in November, and we were hoping for miracles. That is why I'm faulting the NFF. They didn't just do well for the Super Falcons this year.
Okay.
This year, they've not prepared them very well. So, I don't know, but we will, we have to also be optimistic that for how long are we going to continue this way?
All right, we've been talking about squad depth and also having to invite players and make them bond with the team. NFF President Ibrahim Guzo did say he's going to bring in players from the Nigerian Women's Football League, which we saw, as I did say earlier, in that friendly against Algeria. Now there's a possibility that these players will graduate into the senior national team. Maybe they might get a shot this time into the senior national team. What about other players, the likes of Babajide, Omarisola, Edna Imade, who have been invited? How would they be able to integrate into the team? How would they be able to bond with the squad? This is the big question we're still asking. How much does this hurt when it comes to squad depth in competition ahead of the WAFCON campaign? They have not played on the African scene before. And when it comes to continental competition, these players don't have the experience. How would this, affect squad depth? Gwemi Depo, please help me with this. Help me make sense of this.
I think, like we rightly said earlier on, I think it's a major issue. It's disappointing, and I do not know what the NFF is looking at this point, because whether I would like it or not, we need to have squad depth, and this is where
shouldn't we invite these players? Maybe we should not invite these players. Then we have to stick with what we've got. Those ones that are familiar with the terrain. What do you think?
Well, no, I would not agree with that, whether I would like it or not.
That is where they've placed us right now, because we're wondering how they'll be able to integrate with the latest squad we've got.
Yeah. I would not agree with you on that. Like I said, we need our best legs. We need to put our best feet forward when it comes to competitions, and I think these currently are one of our best legs. And we also need to have the squad depth, and I think an early campaign is really not a bad suggestion. Like my colleague said earlier on, I think what we can do at this point is probably let's get the kind of squad we had earlier on against Algeria, majorly with home-based players, filling up the squad. Let's have an early campaign, and let's also look at probably a FIFA open window for friendlies as well, which will be very, very important or very key, because once we have players in camp from the home-based side, you can now pick the best of these players, to merge with their foreign counterparts when there is an open FIFA window where they can actually play.
Yes, let me butt in there. I beg your pardon, Wemidepo, I beg your pardon. Let me just bring in Isabella on that, the inclusion of home base. Now, Isabella, you saw that game against Algeria. Do you think that these players who have been integrated from the Nigerian Women's Football League, that they are good enough, they're in good stead to go compete under the colours of Nigeria at the Women's African Cup of Nations? We know what happened to first-time Jeeters. So do you think that they're good enough for Madugu to go compete with them at the Women's African Cup of Nations?
Yes, I can't rule them out. I can't say that they are not good enough. Of course, they are good enough. There is one thing with the home-based players. They are the players that haven't really made their mark in the national team. So whenever they are called up, they try to put in their best. And that is what is going for them. At least when you put in your best, you get the best result. With the way they come into the team, of course, they will learn from the other experienced players, but I don't think they will be that bad compared to when you bring in these foreign players that you have mentioned there that haven't even known the African football, the African style and all that. So if we can give the home-based players a little bit of chance, especially the ones that were called up, then I think they will learn from the senior players. They are also doing well in their respective clubs in the Nigerian Women's Football League. So I don't think it's going to be that bad for them. They really want to make their mark, and the only way you can make your mark is at the big stage, which is the WAFCON. You have to make your mark there or you'll be dropped. There are so many talented players, so if you don't do well, of course you'll be dropped from the team. So I think they would still blend well, but we have to do something very, very fast, getting the team integrate, getting the whole players together before the competition. Time is not on our side anymore.
Yes, of course, the time is ticking. The Nigerian Football Federation, the die is cast. What would be your reaction? The Super Falcons, 9-time African champions, their status should demand the highest level of preparation. NFF, the highest level of preparation. Will you be able to take up this before it is too late? That's what we are asking at this time. We cannot wait to see them react to these conversations, growing conversations about the neglect of the senior women's national team heading up to the Women's African Cup of Nations. Thank you so much, Isabella Ekeoma, for your thoughts today on the show. We appreciate them.
Thank you for having me once again. Thank you.